I do. I have exactly the same. It's just too cold here to wear this t-shirt, but
Yes,
I can hang it,
of
behind
course.
me or what.
Yeah, that's funny because I had like 500 of these shirts, and I gave a lot of them away at conferences. I still have like a bunch myself, but this last 2 months are the first time I'm wearing a smaller size than before because I lost a little bit of weight. So I'm happy about that. So that's good.
Okay, congratulations.
Yo, thank you. And hey, guess what? It looks like we're live. Hey, everyone. I'm just going to hit the little intro graphic, and then, yeah, we will get going. So, hey, everyone. I have the wonderful pleasure today of speaking with the only that I know of, the one and only Robert Wiecko. How's it going, man?
It's going all right. Thanks for having me. Hi, Joel. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, so this has been, it's kind of this time of year when, first off, this has been a crazy year from a lot of different perspectives. There's no going getting around that. This has also been, I guess, what one could call, a lot of people have been thinking, which I don't know how much I agree on that, but a lot of people have been thinking this is Dash's do or die year, where for ever since Evan walked into that Bitcoin meetup in 2015 and was talking about, I have this concept called evolution and usernames and all this stuff, and then I was like, oh god, we got to deliver this. Ever since that, now it's like everyone's like, oh, is it this year? No. Is it next year? No. Is it this year now? And finally it's all happening, and it's not happening without your help.
Well, I wouldn't say it's do or die year.
Yeah.
For me, it's just the beginning, to be honest, because evolution is indeed a big thing and it's much bigger than we
Mm-hmm.
were thinking back in 2015, 2016. That's why it took so long
Yeah.
uh, to develop, because in the meantime, it grew. But, in 2015, 2016, we had a concept.
Mm-hmm.
And this concept seemed to be simple.
As
And as
everything does.
everything in the blockchain space, it got much more complicated. As we get more into details, we've learned that we are missing a lot, and it took significant portion of time for Andy Freer at the very beginning to design
Mm-hmm.
the entire solution. It was high level design, and
Mm-hmm.
then the other developers stepped in, and they have been working on the components of this complex system, and it became more and more obvious that it will be a huge machine.
Yeah.
But yes, we are getting closer and closer, and the first milestone is ahead of us.
Yes. Well, before we jump into all that stuff, I would like to point out down below, you can go to. I actually messed that thing up in the thing. Whatever. The one above is actually accurate. Go to cointr.ee/the desert lakes, and you can leave a little donation with a message, and the message will show up live here. Just like this one showed up live, giving the wrong address, which I've never typed in, but that's fine. It is what it is. So you want to really, you can join the live chat anywhere else and ask questions, but I will feel free to ignore what you're doing, what you're saying, if you don't send it through this thing. So if you ask some questions and I'm not answering, you really want it to be answered, then yeah, go through there. So uh, anyway, we're talking about this monumental achievement that we've been going through, which the concept of evolution dash evolution was, oh, it's just blockchain, but then it's going to be usernames and contact lists and social payments and fun things like that. And then it ended up being, oh wow, we need this giant architecture thing. And I would probably guess, I mean, personal opinion, right? Not nothing more, but my personal opinion was that the momentous, just how big the task became, was not really that I don't think it was well communicated over the years. That people just thought like, why are we waiting so long on just usernames? You know. So do you think you would agree with that statement?
I fully agree. We did not good job well communicating the complexity of the work that is being done and the timelines. Frankly speaking, we did not communicate the timelines well because we were not aware of uh, every aspect of the development that was happening. And internally, there was even some confidence that we can finish this earlier. However, it appears that we wanted more and more and more, and this tiny thing at the very beginning that was called usernames or
Yeah.
social wallet, like Evan announced it grew into entire platform. And yeah, we did not communicate it well. I fully agree, and it create a lot of confusion among the Dash community. It create a lot of confusion among ourselves, and I fully admit that it could be managed better.
Yeah. And I think that that's going to be one of those things where people have been sleeping on Dash for a long time for a lot of different reasons. And it's going to be one of those, I think, why did I not know about this kind of situations where people are going to be starting to build things off of everything else and it's not going to work. And then they're going to say, oh, wait, you got a this going and it works. And then they'll have to start digging in to see why it works the way it does. So,
Hmm.
for example, I've been interviewing some people involved in other projects that have usernames of some sort involved. And one of the things that looks more like Dash on the surface is in the Evans, Dash Evans vision is something made on Bitcoin Satoshi's vision. Funny enough,
Right.
which is
Okay.
there's the username protocol called PayMail, which works basically like email, except you can just send and receive to like an email address thingy. Like let's just say Robert at dash.org, and then it works like the username backend where it generates a new address every time, but you just send to that. And of course, if dash.org decides to shut you down, then they can do that, and then you have to find a different provider, even though you keep your
Hmm.
wallet. Or
Hmm.
also, like the wallet you have would have their own server that stores all the contact information of like who did you pay, who are your contact lists. So anyone can kind of run these things, so it's kind of decentralized in that way, but it's not like a universal kind of experience where you got one username no one can shut down and you got one set of data and contact list that no one can shut down. It doesn't quite have that. And more importantly, it's, again, I'm not saying bad things. It's a very ingenious solution, I think, but it's a very direct solution to just usernames, contact lists. That's it. It's not levels of data and identity, a full blockchain identity, which no one's really. People have tried to do things like that. No one's really gotten all the way there yet, from
Yeah.
my what I've been able to see.
As far as I'm concerned, and according to my current knowledge, that there is no real decentralized identity solution that we are going to provide. It
Hmm.
should be the first on the market, actually. There are a couple of centralized
Hmm.
services that provide username functionality, and it's being successfully implemented in some wallets. Probably works well. I did not test any of them, I have to
Hmm.
admit.
That's my job.
No, not really.
Yeah.
If you need that, you
Hmm.
you you would use it. You would test it, right? I simply don't need it. Majority of transactions I do is in Dash,
Hmm.
and I don't need like username for these purposes. And I know that we will have these solutions very soon in our ecosystem, and it's not it's not going to be only the username, but it's going to be like digital identity in the entire Dash ecosystem that looks like it will be also connected with other solutions thanks to the DeFi movement that is happening on Ethereum right now. which is
Yeah.
fascinating.
That's a very interesting thing to think about is the identity aspect. And I keep hearing people like Mark Mason, shout out to hi Mark, are saying things like calling it social payments a lot more, not just ease of use blockchain, but social. And
Yeah,
that's something that I've kind of like had my like mind blow moment on a while back was when I was thinking payments are just transmitting value. Value is just, as uh, Chuck Williams used to say, all value is belief, right? So it's
correct.
just I believe I have value and I transfer it, and it's an idea. Value is an idea that people collectively share, and you
Yeah.
transmit that. And then what else do you transmit peer to peer? Messages, right? Like communications, including social networks and things like that. It's all tied in together. And just the fact that I know a lot of people who are using Facebook Messenger to send payments back and forth to each other because
For example, yeah.
they're socializing on Facebook, and then instead of when they see someone they want to talk to, instead of going into their phone and now looking for their phone number, and they just message right through the platform, hey, I want to pay you, instead of, oh, I'll see you later, I'll send you this. Like, nope, everything
Hmm.
right there. And all these solutions that I've been seeing don't really do that in a decentralized way. Like, this is an opportunity to be the first to do that, to where you can have you can have your data where you are on some sort of social platform, and then you're messaging peer to peer and sending money peer to peer, and all the data is kind of controlled by you. It's just all
Yeah,
you and
yeah,
decentralized, and that's something. It's just like, oh, this is going to change
yeah.
everything.
This will be the first time we will see this kind of solution running, and that's why it's also very important to us to make sure that we don't fail.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
I also feel like, there will be no more chances. We can launch evolution successfully only one time.
Yeah, of course. So that being said, then how's it going towards the launch?
Mm. It's intense. It's
Yes.
very intense, actually. I have started a couple of weeks ago. I have started the preparations to the testnet release, which means that I work with every team, preparing every team. Let me give you some background. We
Mm-hmm.
have like four major products that we work on, which is core platform, iOS wallet, and Android wallet. And what we understand under the name of evolution release, right?
Yeah.
Or what we are calling platform release is in fact the release of four of those major components plus the others, because we will need to also upgrade inside DNS seed. We will need to upgrade a decentralized API, which is a part of the platform. But there are multiple components that needs to be synchronized with all of this, and uh, it's a huge effort to release everything at once,
Mm-hmm.
and it needs to be coordinated also with messaging and communication, coordinated with proper documentation being shared with the community. We need to inform our partners that hey guys, it will happen at this time, on our testnet environment. Please prepare yourself,
Mm-hmm.
because in the coming months we will be releasing this thing to mainnet, and it's a complex job. So because of my history with project management, because of my skill set in coordination, I like took responsibility of release preparations, and work with all of these teams. Those teams are still working on their own parts, right? The core development team prepares the release version 17. Platform team works on the version 17 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Then iOS and Android wallet teams are working on their own versions of the software. And at the same time, they work on the native wallets and they work on the DashPay wallet.
Mm-hmm.
A pretty challenging thing. So to make sure that everything works well, we organized a weekly meeting where we synchronize all of the information when we update ourselves on the current status of work. I have created a risk register with a list of current risks that needs to be mitigated and help and assist every team member in order to eliminate those risks from the upcoming release. And yeah, it's pretty intense but exciting. I have to say, sometimes I sit like 10 hours,
Mm-hmm.
12 hours in front of my computer trying to resolve sometimes big issues, sometimes tiny things. Uh, but it's exciting. It's super exciting.
Yes, everything kind of coming together. Let me highlight we just got a super chat from Splowik. Say, guys,
Hey,
cheers from
Paweł,
Italy, pizza and beers. Thank you very much for the donation, Splowik.
welcome.
And yeah,
Cheers.
cheers. If you're in the after party afterwards, we can say hi. So, uh, with this whole coordinated release thing, what exactly is expected to be released this month? Is in it's going to be Testnet, which, from my understanding, right, is completely done, but we don't know if there's bugs yet, kind of thing, right?
Oh, no, 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 not really. So
Mm-hmm.
you need to understand that it's MVP,
Yes.
and it's not like we will put everything at once, right? We will put all of these products at once,
Mm-hmm.
because we will be releasing core platform and wallets a little bit later on, after we are sure that platform and core work
Mm-hmm.
is working and is synchronized. Sorry, the DashPay wallet will be released, but it's not like everything is going to be released at once. We will be releasing features one after another
Mm-hmm.
until the moment when we are sure that everything works great, everything is tested very carefully,
Mm-hmm.
everything is fine and stable on the testnet, and then we are upgrading everything at once to the mainnet,
Mm-hmm.
because on the mainnet we will not have this luxury of doing step by step, ensuring that we can upgrade in small steps, because these upgrades will require to update master nodes, to update sometimes sporks, etc., etc., and it's relatively easy to do on the testnet environment when we
Mm-hmm.
can prepare as much master nodes as we want to, when we can prepare as much nodes and miners as we need to for this effort. But this upgrading of the mainnet is not such easy things from the operational perspective, because those nodes are being managed by the community and operators that are completely independent of us.
Yeah. And that.
So the testnet will be like a process. We will release the first
Mm-hmm.
version of the products, then we will be upgrading. Then everything will be put on hold and tested. The bugs will be eliminated, if any. I don't believe that there will be many bugs, because we do test this solution for a long time on Palinka, which is our devnet, on Evonet, which is our another devnet. So
Mm-hmm.
we don't expect a huge amount of issues, but there will be some. I'm pretty sure there will be some. And after we are sure that everything is good and stable on the testnet, the time for mainnet will come. And at the moment it's pretty big thing for us, because it's not like a experimental network anymore, right?
Yeah.
Our mainnet is what, $1 billion at the moment, or
Close
something
to
like
it.
this. Close to it, exactly. I did
Mm-hmm.
not look at the coin market cap recently, so you cannot screw up our users that
Mm-hmm.
put $1 billion into the dash. So we need to be responsible.
Yeah.
It's for us as a development team, it's not like the news that will cause excitement in the community, and probably a lot of excitement on the exchanges, etc. For us it's very complicated, complex process that needs to be handled in very, very professional way.
Yeah, and it's very. fun to kind of see. Dash has a very different way of developing things on a lot of these louder projects. And for some people, there's been some frustrations around that because the number one use case for cryptocurrency today is just speculative holding. And
Hmm.
sometimes the way Dash does things is not necessarily the most conducive for speculation, you know? And some people get
Yeah.
upset, which it's a hard thing because pretty much every single thing that I've seen that Dash did has been development wise, especially has been very responsible, and
Yes.
it's something that I would really want a company I'd be proud in. And we're talking companies, right? Not decentralized networks for a second, but like a company, it's something they would instill trust. You know, that
Yes.
they have pictures of like a big oak tree in their thing, look stable like the tree and all this, those kinds of things, and but then you get these other things where, like, I've been watching the Bitcoin Cash splits, and obviously, Bitcoin Cash split from Bitcoin a long time ago, and then there was a few technical issues coming up here or there because it was a major shift from, oh, we have the longest and most established team in cryptocurrency, and you're just breaking from them. You're doing something different, and obviously there's some issues. But then just seeing like the Bitcoin ABC fork now with that same more established team, now there's some miner that is like, I don't know how close you've been watching, but there's some miner that has been like refusing transactions and has been putting messages in blocks that are vindictive. They're actually trying to destroy the chain. And then now there's
Right.
like two Bitcoin ABC chains because they did another one that it's just a complete disaster. And obviously it could get better over time, but like right now, that's a sign of like you wouldn't trust your money on that. And every single, because I do have some Bitcoin Cash once in a while and people donate to me, and every single wallet I have, all these notifications are popping up. Warning: this could not be stable. You could, you don't move your funds until temporarily disabled this, and I'm like, what is that like? That's pretty much of a disaster. But this kind of stable thing, when you actually think that people are relying on you for payments and other things, you start to have this sense of responsibility. I did notice.
Absolutely.
I did notice over a few years. So I like to look into transaction data and such. And I remember in 2017, everyone was saying like, "Oh, every Dash is doing great. Everyone's using it. It's gonna mass adoption." Like people were getting very hyped up because the price was big, and then the headlines were big, and everything was big. And looking back then, it was like at its peak, like 8,000 to 9,000 transactions a day in 2017, and then today it's like 30,000. So it's like pretty much triple growth over that time, even though Dash's
Yeah.
profile has gone from here like way down, but the usage has gone the other way.
Not profiling the position on the coin market cap, and it means nothing actually.
Yeah.
In terms of professionalism and then solutions, that the position on market cap means nothing. I don't. I'm not going to talk about the other projects. I just, I want to point out that every person who works with us or experience how do we work with customers, all of the people that are receiving help from our customer service desk are extremely grateful and underline that. Okay, guys, I have never seen such thing in the crypto space. You are fantastic. Thank you for for being there, for providing help to your customers. The people who learn how we do work in the decentralized way within DCG and within DAO in general are amazed with great coordination, are amazed with the unity that we present, resolving the issues, disputes, because we do have like huge disputes, right, and
Yeah,
arguments
sometimes.
to time. But when the thing is settled, that there is only one way, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that there are no splits, forks, and anger. Uh, yeah, it's amazing. We have resolved many things in the past. We have managed to create professional structure within DCG, uh, because I have to admit that like in the year 2017 it was extremely difficult to work with so many people,
Mm-hmm.
and in this decentralized way. We have made a huge effort. We have hired external consultants and made a huge effort implementing Scrum methodology within the company, and took agile approach in order to deliver actually everything within company. Management teams works in the same way, value team works the same way, and the quality of work improved a lot. I need to say that, you know, DCG in 2018 and DCG in 2020, those are two different worlds. Probably it's not visible outside, or maybe it is because we also started to organize those quarterly calls, that there is much more information being shared as what's going on with Dash. Recently, Dana and Brian are recording videos and sharing information. Mark created his own like sub page for the
Mm-hmm.
press. Blog is quite active.
Yeah.
So probably this improvement is visible, but from my perspective as a manager and operating officer of the company, what has been improved in the recent 2 years is huge. It's huge professionalization, and maybe I don't I'm
Mm-hmm.
not being modest at the moment saying that,
Yeah.
but it creates a good environment for everyone, for developers, for the customer support, and for every person that is in the company.
Yeah, and that's a fun thing to think about because the cryptocurrency world is becoming more professional by the day. And in the past, it was amateur hour, and in the best and worst of the what that means, right? So
Yeah.
like obviously Satoshi created Bitcoin and just, oh, here's a white paper, here's some code, and just like anonymous hackers list, all that kind of stuff. And then anyone could create a coin. Charlie Lee hits copy and paste and does his thing, and then like it just that's the way the world works. Oh, Dogecoin, and it's all over the place. And it's funny because then there's this newer generation, and I would say kind of post Ethereum, like Ethereum started maybe getting the trend in that direction. But Zcash was one of those first major projects that I kind of saw felt corporate to me. Like it's like a team of people that are like very connected. They already have everything figured out, and then they just kind of go and kind of lost some of that cypherpunk allure. And it's funny because for anyone who actually knows Dash's history, Dash had a very chaotic like founding with Evan being like, oh, he's at work, and then he decides to make this Xcoin thing, and then there's mining bugs, and he's going crazy over that, and then let's change it to this, and then like all that kind of stuff, and then big exchange hacks, and just a mess. And then now Dash looks like a newer generation cryptocurrency that like comes out with like everything all well-oiled machine and like regular reports and things like that, and developer bounties all over the place and slick systems here, and just everything looks new even though it's like actually very old school.
Yeah, yeah, it's different. Like the entire industry grew, and it's different. There is a lot of, let's say, maybe not amateur, but questionable projects, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
But professionalization is there. There are much more companies that grow. There is still this cyberpunk
Mm-hmm.
mentality. A lot of libertarians are there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these ideas did not die because of professionalization.
Of course.
I would say it made things easier and more understandable for the world outside.
Mm-hmm.
Because 5 years ago, for the world outside, we were freaks.
Yeah. And now
Freaks,
now
freaks
PayPal's
and
involved.
yeah, and now PayPal integrated with
Mm-hmm.
cryptocurrencies, right? So have a look how we did change. And though those companies that were saying not really pleasant things about Bitcoin, about other cryptocurrencies right now. They are looking for integrations, and they are looking for opportunities on how to use blockchains, how to use cryptocurrencies. And but there is still a lot to do. I have to
Mm-hmm.
say that there is still a lot to do. I will give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was around a year ago. I was on the conference in Dublin. Yeah, it was more than a year ago because there were still conferences.
Yeah, of course.
It was the last one I have participated in person.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a conference for the financial industry. There were a lot of CTOs, and the conference was about blockchain overall for the financial industry. It was funny, by the way, because these people are afraid saying the word cryptocurrency. They say always blockchain, 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 digital ledger,
Yeah,
decentralized
trying to
ledger,
hide
etc.
something.
But cryptocurrency, it was me and the guy from Tezos who was there. We were saying cryptocurrency. The rest were the rest of them. It was for the rest of them. It was always blockchain.
Yeah.
But
So,
anyway, they have shared with me the experience I want to share
mm-hmm.
with you
Yeah,
because the financial institutions they are maybe very conservative, but they look for the opportunities. They are R&D departments that they are checking actually multiple new technologies available on the market and trying to figure out if they can use it within their industry, within their companies. And blockchain obviously came as a promise to them in 2017, 2018. There was a hype about this, and these people were sharing with me in private conversation how it looked this from their perspective. They have obviously started with Bitcoin. Everyone was talking about Bitcoin. So let's figure out what can we do with Bitcoin, right? And those are CTOs or architects or engineers, and it became to them that actually we cannot do anything with
of
Bitcoin, right?
course.
For us it's useless. We
Mm-hmm.
cannot develop solutions on top of it. Well, what Bitcoin is about is to transfer value, and the fees were unacceptable at that time
Mm-hmm.
to them. So they quickly dropped this idea and tried to dig in, and they found Ethereum. Okay, Ethereum is great. Okay, not so great. So the contract the contract idea is cool. However, for us it doesn't work in a way that is useful, and also the fees in our volumes of transactions are unacceptable, because even if the fee was at the level of $0.50 or $1, it was way too much for these institutions. Like they execute between 100,000 and million transactions per day, for example. So even the cost of transaction on the level of $1 is totally unacceptable, and it was extremely slow,
Of
right?
course.
So they started to, tested Hyperledger, they tested other solutions, and majority of them, and actually it was funny because majority of them landed with VeChain,
Mm-hmm.
and they were working with VeChain on their solutions. And I was educating them about also Dash, that we are working on the platform, and this might be a kind of future opportunity to them. But they work here now and today,
Mm-hmm.
not on the future. But I think it's another opportunity for us with the platform, that because there are many disappointed people, engineers, CTOs, architects that were trying to use cryptocurrencies and blockchains, and actually they failed because of maybe the features offered by the current solutions on the
Mm-hmm.
market, especially open source blockchains, are not suitable for their needs.
Yeah. One thing I've noticed is there's kind of like an elephant in the room for a long time, and I think it might have started more with when Bitcoin did not scale, and it did not scale for I would call, what's the term they use today with non-essential for, so like I would call it luxury reasons. Like, well, if we try to scale on chain, then not everyone could run a node, and like we think like not like, oh, we cannot do this. Like, nah, they just they'd rather not, you know. And
Hmm.
so Bitcoin got away with it, I think, and I don't know how long it's going to get away with it, but it because it's become like the asset class almost that then people just want to hold it, and then they want to build stuff on top of, not on top of Bitcoin, not on top of the network, but backed by Bitcoin, like exchange to
Yeah,
exchange
yeah, yeah.
transfers where the actual coins don't move, or you do like a debit card.
Which is fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love Bitcoin, and I think that the way they like work these days is the best possible way for now,
Yeah,
not necessarily for the future.
yeah. So that's the strange thing is Bitcoin managed just was the only one big enough, I think, to just make it past the technical barriers it had to just like still be there despite the problems. Like Ethereum hit problems, but there's just so much work on Ethereum 2.0, which is supposedly out now and stuff, that no, it's going to scale and the fees are going down. Okay, we'll see. But then there's so many
Oh,
other.
it will take a couple of years. So it's also this kind of people are not patient, right? They
Yeah,
think that because right now that there is a beacon chain starting, Ethereum 2.0 is out. No, it's a process. Vitalik published the roadmap recently, and it will take a lot of work and probably even years
mm-hmm,
to fully implement what they are going to implement because it's complicated.
of course.
This blockchain thing, let's say overall development on top of blockchain is extremely complicated. It's nothing that we as engineers, I was a software engineer back in my time, we as engineers, we did not know this kind of thing.
Yeah. So this kind of actually this live chat question we got kind of gets into the same type of a thing. One time says, "Hi Robert and Joel, as Dash is getting more adoption, don't you think that large institutional investors will eventually want to look into Dash the way they're getting into Bitcoin now? Are a lot of them not yet aware that Dash is currently the only blockchain that is more secure than Bitcoin?" Now, as far as only, there's a lot of caveats to that, right? There might be some that are more secure but more centralized. For example, there might be, it's the definition of, you know, there's like in order to be, again, maybe there's the journalist in me. I want to be absolutely correct about, well, this and that, but that's exactly the point that I was thinking of, because I was talking about these luxuries, right? Like the luxury to not scale because, you just, it's against your values or something. There's a lot of coins that have luxuries. Like, how is it that Bitcoin Cash has the same mining algorithm as Bitcoin and just isn't scared of being obliterated? How come Bitcoin SV has the same as well, but is even lower on the chain? And it
Yeah.
just doesn't. And then Bitcoin ABC is the lowest of all of those, and then is now getting destroyed because they have the same mining algorithm, and just a single miner is deciding to destroy them. And it's like,
Yeah.
you just, but we like it. We like the old algorithm, or somehow in their brain they're thinking, well, we're going to be the real Bitcoin someday, and therefore we want to have the same, so all the miners hop over, whatever. Just these like, and I'm not like trying to talk smack about all these, but I'm just saying that's a luxury. You're vulnerable, and you're having people trust you with their life savings in a lot of cases, and
Absolutely.
then you could be destroyed at a, like, how is that acceptable? That's not. How are people putting money behind these things? And then like Litecoin, oh, Grayscale has Litecoin, oh, PayPal is going to do this, and Litecoin works well enough, but it's just like, what, like, where are you, what's your roadmap? Wait for Bitcoin, figure it out. Like, well, what's your development thing? Well, Charlie said does some stuff, but like mostly he's too bored, and then they run out of money, and like, oh, it's just like, how is anyone putting money into this stuff? And it's like, Litecoin, of course, it's at the top of its mining algorithm, so it's not necessarily as vulnerable, but it's still like, okay, let's, who is going to, in the in the sensible financial world, right? Who where everything is, we got to secure custody and this and that and regulatory compliance, and they're all being so careful financially, is going to be like, yeah, we'll just throw Dogecoin in there, whatever, and it's like, just we'll just kind of adds this crap, right? And
Yes.
I don't think a lot of things are crap as far like I don't think a lot of things have had the opportunity yet to be shown for the crap that they are. Like, because
No.
if it just works, if you want to put it in your wallet, it works. You want to move it to a hardware wallet, it works. It's okay. But it's not until, like Ethereum Classic got 51% attacked so much that they might as well rebrand to 51% coin or something. Like, they just got attacked over and over, and people still like, yeah, I still have it. Yeah, I still have. I might buy some. In fact, it's like, why? It's gonna get destroyed. Like,
Because
eventually, yeah. So go on.
because we live in a kind of bubble. Uh, we, as a, let's say, crypto industry, we see the things very much different than the world outside.
Yeah.
For the world outside, you know, like one time the user was right who was asking question. It was one time he was asking about security. Yes, security is important, but this is not the only attribute that is being like on the list, on the checklist for those people, right? Probably the list is long, and at the moment Bitcoin is definitely the asset that have the majority of checks successfully filled in on the list. And well, that's why also the professionalization we were talking about is desperately needed for the industry, because we need to be professional to cooperate with all of these institutions, with all of the companies. It doesn't mean we cannot stay independent, decentralized. It doesn't mean we have to drop our ideals, our ideas of libertarian values, etc., and decentralization overall, privacy or whatever else. But we need to provide professional service. We need to be secure. There should be a trust. There should be a good brand that probably only Bitcoin network has at the moment. This is the like immediately recognized cryptocurrency. And even if you think cryptocurrency, you think Bitcoin first, right? And then you know that there is the entire universum of cryptocurrencies
Yeah.
exist. And well, there is a lot of things that are important for the external companies, for the institutions that start to work with cryptos. It's not only security, it's not only the cost of transaction, for example, or it's not only the speed that we offer, but overall, there is a huge work to do in
Yeah.
order to get accepted by the external world.
Well, I mean, this thing. I think that there's three major components to getting to the top in this case. One of them is infrastructural, which I do think that Dash is one of the few projects that has all that answered.
Yeah.
Because can it be attacked? Not really. I mean, very difficult. It's one of the only projects you can really say that about, that it's going to work. Do transactions just go through and work? Are they irreversible? Yes, it just works. Is the infrastructure all there? Do you have enough nodes? Yes, of course. Incentivize infrastructure. And if they start letting their stats lag, then they get kicked off the network, right? And
Hmm.
so, like, does it, is it secure in a voting perspective? Like, is it just going to, do you just trust that it's going to keep running and there aren't going to be schisms and fights and things? Well, yeah, people argue, then there's a vote and it's over. And, like, all that's stable. And I don't think people will start to look into that until instability starts to be reflected. Like, Bitcoin Cash splitting all the time is going to be a problem, right? It just is. And then
For sure.
like Ethereum Classic getting attacked all the time is going to be a problem. And then Bitcoin transactions just not going through or being super expensive. Over time, people are going to start not valuing that. The other side, of course, which is I think the way that was going to be the hardest thing for Dash to conquer, I think, is the ecosystem thing. Because I have a feeling that and for how much compared to everything that's actually going on in the project, Dash is probably the most poorly connected cryptocurrency out there. As far as this is maybe just my impression, but as far as having friends in high places and like having a favorite amongst exchange partners and like as far as like business relationships and the rest of the thing, compared to how good like you have just like Charlie Lee is everywhere. And even though Litecoin doesn't do very much, it just he makes sure it's always in there. And like Zcash, despite being lower on the rankings forever, just gets into Gemini right away and stuff like that. And like that kind of connection, I think, is one of the harder things that Dash will have to overcome. And of course, the final one is the user experience from like beginning to end, which I think is one of those things that Dash is going to have a huge advantage on, is just how long does it take to onboard a new user, to buy some Dash, start sending it, and how easy is the whole process? It's just super easy. And then you start to have like, well, with Bitcoin, you got this and that, and then it takes so long, and then it costs an extra fee, and then you put in the Lightning channel, and then there's some routing issues, and it doesn't work, and then, just there's going to be issues like that. And then you have something like, let's just say, Bitcoin Cash, and if you're lucky, there's no fork related problems. You just get it, and it's easy, and it kind of works, but then there's like no good username set up, and then you say, oh no, it's instant, but the exchange doesn't take it until like a half day later with like 80 confirmations or whatever it is. And then I think that's going to be pretty easy. But like I said before, the second one is the hard one for Dash, in my perspective, is just the relationships and connections in the rest of the ecosystem in the world.
Well, I wouldn't say, Joel, that we don't have good relationships, but
Mm-hmm.
because actually we are listed on majority of these major exchanges. The fact that we are not listed on Gemini doesn't mean that we don't have relations.
Yes.
Have a look.
I'm
Well,
obviously being a little exaggerating here.
yeah. Mm.
But
Probably Gemini will happen sooner or later. It's not up to us to decide, right?
mm-hmm.
I would love to have better connections, of course. Maybe I hope that we will make them, better and better over the time. But I think that we do have pretty good connections already.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, what might create your impression are the troubles we are getting because of the listings, and
Yeah.
it's worrying. But you have to like understand the perception of the exchange owner in this case.
Mm-hmm.
They don't probably get like large volumes from the Dash tradings, and
Mm-hmm.
they are like being bombarded by the regulators or whatever institutions that they connect with, and that they are receiving letters to delist Dash. It's much easier to them to just delist than fight battles
Of
for
course.
Dash.
Well, that's
Right?
that's the funny thing is, the one area I've definitely noticed this deficit has been in, like, media, especially, where
Oh,
how, and I'm not
oh,
just
don't start with that. I will be like cursing.
yes, and I'm not just saying, well, the media coverage isn't good. I'm talking about people in like how many crypto YouTubers, like there's always, or for example, or journalists or other things like that that are a fan of a specific project. There's always some. You'll find, obviously a lot of people like Ethereum. Everyone's like a Bitcoin maxi or whatever. And then there's some people that are big into Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, like say Roger Ver at Bitcoin.com, that whole thing, which is it's like a powerhouse of a company and an organization that's just like very much for this. And then you have other groups that just like Litecoin, like for example Coinbase, liking Litecoin and getting that in there. And then you have like a YouTube, oh, I just love Monero, and there's like For example, like the Dollar Vigilante and all of them, they're just huge Monero shills. They love that stuff. And like, where are the huge Dash shills anywhere? I mean, it's pretty much just this guy, and that's because like I worked for Dash for a long time, and now I do like more broad content, so people who don't care about Dash do watch my stuff. But like, I'm like the only one. Like, there's a few like Omar Baum who liked Dash, but I think he got tired of it when Evolution didn't launch and there wasn't anything to hype like right away. And then he's like, all right, now he's done. He's on to other things. But like,
Wow, there is Rodrigo.
yeah, I mean, again, he works for Dash. So, is there anyone who doesn't like work for Dash who's like a big Dash fan out there? Like, oh, you see random people on the internet, like Twitter people, but they're like low level. They're not in positions of like influence. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so community, do you hear what Joel is saying?
Mm-hmm.
We need Dash focused podcasts. Do your work.
Yes.
We cannot do everything.
Yes, I mean, basically, the only person who wasn't me for a while was Tao, and he's doing hex stuff now anyway. But that's a I don't want to
Exactly.
start I don't want to start a beef live on air right now. it's it's
Yeah,
basically
Tao is still with Dash. He,
yeah.
he, he tries to combine those two things, I
Hmm.
believe.
Yeah, so I think that I don't know. It'll be hard, and then there's a lot of people I know who are uh BSV fans.
Amanda. We forgot about Amanda.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
She was having her show, right?
Yes, and that was one of the biggest things that happened. That was one of the biggest things that happened for Dash was when she started actually covering Dash for the Daily Decrypt back in the day, and that was one of those big
Right.
YouTube shows everyone liked. And then people were like, "Oh, what?" And then, but then she worked for Dash and became the Dash person, and now there's been a few people who've given positive coverage, but like I feel like it's kind of like I feel like it's almost like a shame for some people because you do find people like, oh, by the way, I'm a big Dash fan, but they don't like to say it publicly. They're very private about it, where they'll say
Mhm.
about anything else, and I
You
don't.
know, people can have problem with that because there are many
Hmm.
communities or there are many tension. There
Hmm.
is a lot of tension between communities, and maybe people who don't have strong personalities, they don't do well with criticism and hate that is happening sometimes during those shows. And well, comments are not necessarily pleasant if you are hearing or seeing that, okay, Dash is a scam, shut the fuck up, etc., etc. Sorry for being so
Yeah,
straight,
of course.
but some people can not handle this well and simply saying, okay, I will not do that. If I will be talking about Bitcoin, then there will be a lot of Bitcoin fans and maximalists, tapping me in the back, and it's much easier, it's much pleasant, and the challenge is not so huge for even mental part of the human being.
Yeah, I've noticed one thing that I have noticed one thing that's a little interesting is there's been some sort of an effect where so people become Dash, they hear about Dash, they become a fan, and then they start getting encouraged to actually join the treasury. And like, no, no, no,
Hmm.
okay, you're a Dash fan or whatever. Your company should go to the diff, talk to whatever. Or oh, your company should, you do this, or you should start making YouTube videos sponsored by Dash. And in fact, like that's kind of what happened to me. I was writing for Cointelegraph and I was a Dash fan, and I was trying to interview Evan at the open house in 2017, and he
Hmm.
just told me you should start a newspaper funded by Dash. I'm like, okay, I guess that's what I'm doing. And so, I went in there. A lot of people do that, and then invariably something happens where like they don't get their way, like the diff doesn't want to invest in them, or they have a proposal that doesn't turn out well, and then they get all mad, and then they go away. Now they don't like Dash anymore. Like they used to
Yeah.
like Dash, then they get drawn in by like the money, and then something happens with that that's not good, and then they just don't. They completely leave. And this doesn't happen as much with like other projects that don't have treasuries because they just stay as fans on the outside, and then there's no money for them to come for, so they just are always fans. It's kind of like It's kind of like this is going to be a very odd, odd
But
allegory.
actually, that's a good point,
Yeah,
Joel.
yeah. It's like having a bunch of
Do you
friends.
suggest that greed destroys a lot of, uh, enthusiasm?
Yes, it's not. It's greed. It's also like I use the example of it's like you have a lot of friends, but you date all of them, and then you
Ah,
end up
yeah.
breaking up with them ever, of course, and then they're just not your friends anymore. And so then why
Mhm,
don't I have any friends? Well, it's because you dated all of them, and then you had to break up with some of them, and then they don't like you anymore. But if you just never dated them to begin with, they'd still be your friends today.
mhm,
It's kind of one of those sorts of things, which I really hope that this governance, the treasury reallocation proposal, there was those two options, and then the one that Ryan liked more won out, and hopefully there's going to be the confirmation of that vote soon. But the whole thing where new coins that get created are going to be given to masternodes and miners rather than not created, right? That get saved. So you actually see that hopefully makes masternodes a little bit less willing to just spend on nonsense. I hopefully that makes fewer people get sucked into the treasury and then spit back out all upset and bitter.
yeah. Yeah, that's true. It's interesting conclusion, you know. I've
Mm-hmm.
never been thinking about the treasury this way. For me, it was always opportunity
Mm-hmm.
that we offer to like open-minded people
Mm-hmm.
or people who have no budget. But actually, yeah, you are right. I can understand people who feel very badly when they are not funded anymore and they don't want to do anything. Yeah, it's different to be engaged as a fan
Mm-hmm.
and being a supporter, and it's becoming much very much different when you are being paid and then suddenly you are not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard to
It
do things
happened
for
to
free.
you, right?
Well, yeah, except in fact, Hilawi is down in the chat. He says, yes, the Treasury creates less incentive for volunteers, and they quit Dash when not funded, he says, except for you and Mark. And I was going to say, like, pretty much. Like, there's like a couple. There's like me. There's like Mark, although Mark is back working for Dash. There's like a couple people that just still love Dash, but, are not working for it anymore. But like, you
Mhm.
remember, like, the whole crypto show thing? That didn't turn out
Yeah.
well. Of course, Heidi. I don't know if that turned out well. Again, I'm trying to name too many names. Maybe this is better for like the after party where we actually get to talk some smack. But it's
Okay.
but it's
Yeah, let's talk about some more positive stuff.
yes. So it's just one of those kinds of things. I know some people who you know yeah. Anyway, this is
Yeah,
where you
but
hit a lot of examples.
the other side of the equation is the ability to, fund a lot of activities and a lot of integrations. And if
Hmm.
this part works extremely well, right?
Yeah.
I've been having a conversation today with Ryan, and he showed me some numbers that will be presented to community during the quarterly call that will be, Q4
Hmm.
call, I don't know, presented probably January, February. We don't know the date yet, but it will be like a year summary as well.
Hmm.
And, you know, Ryan will probably show the number of economic transactions that is happening on the blockchain. I will not give you the numbers. You have you can see the numbers more or less. You
Hmm.
can see the like average number of transactions in an easy way. Number of economic transactions is similar, but the growth is exponential.
Hmm.
I don't think that any network does have this kind of measure that exponentially grows month or quarter over quarter, and there are no like changes, ups and downs.
Hmm.
And this is an indicator that our professional initiatives work very well, right?
Yeah.
People use Dash. We like we provide what we promised to them. So this is robust, very useful payments network. The other things might be improved.
Yeah.
And
That's something that I have noticed is the constant growth in terms of usage,
oh,
and
it's amazing.
and it's not like a so before I go like too crazy and like oh it's amazing, uh, it's not a huge amount of transactions. Like as I mentioned in the 2000, so like back when I started using Dash, kind of like mid 2016, it was like 1,000 a day or something. It was like really low, like no one was using this stuff. And then
Uh-huh.
at the peak of the bull market, it got up to like 8, 9, 10,000, sometimes 11, and it didn't really fall off from there. And so
Yeah,
now where we're at like 20, 25, 30,000 a day, and that's not a lot. It's not a lot either. It's an okay amount. And so, for example, I watch these every single day for like the major networks, and Litecoin is around 30 to 40 typically, and then they got a giant surge because they released some blockchain game that every time you harvested gold, it would do a Litecoin transaction, and that interest is now tapering off, so it's getting close to that kind of stuff. But Dash is almost very consistently above Bitcoin Cash for a while. Bitcoin Cash used to do like 60,000 plus a day, and then all the stuff happened, and then it's actually had negative transaction growth. And I do know a lot of people who use it, but it's not as many as use Dash. And Monero's had a pretty good growth over the years, I will say. It used to be like no one used it, and now it's like in the 10 or so, 10 to 15,000 range, depending on. So there is, but the thing about Dash is it seems resistant to market cycles, both like
because
yeah.
because the market cycles are connected very closely to the price of the coin and to the sentiment on the exchanges, right? And
Mm-hmm.
majority of our transactions are coming actually from the market itself. So those are economic transactions that happen on the not on the exchanges but in stores.
Yeah.
Like I hope Ryan will provide some very meaningful examples from the stores
Mm-hmm.
because in Venezuela we have, thanks to Crypto Buyer and a couple of other partnerships, we do have data from the stores,
Mm-hmm.
and you will be surprised, with the number of transactions that are not like speculation on the exchanges, right?
Yeah.
Those are real world transactions, and you will see the list of transactions executed in that Bitcoin, Litecoin, Tether, and then probably something else, and you will be surprised.
Yeah, and I think I mean I don't think I would be surprised because I watch the stuff going on. I just talk to people. But a lot of people would be. A lot of people don't know, and people got annoyed at me on Twitter because I posted this and they're calling me a tribalist knucklehead and all this kind of because I posted um, the transactions that Pivex, which was a top 20 coin in 2017. And
Mhm.
Pivx and Bitcoin Gold are very similar in transaction volumes, around 200 a day. And it's been pretty flat over a long period of time. And people are trying to say, like, you're saying that the project sucks. I'm like, no, I'm just talking data. It's just a couple hundred people a day use this
Yeah,
network, and
yeah.
it is what it is. And like you get to actually people are surprised by a lot of things. Obviously Bitcoin SV has like 800,000 a day or something because they have a million little apps and things that are running on it. So I don't know how well, like I don't know what you could call real transaction because they seem to think that's like sure it's what we want this to be doing that. So it's like all right. But as far as like payments, like buying things, there's not a lot of like there's not a lot of competition, and I'm trying to get into I'm trying to start using Lightning. I actually have a Lightning wallet and I have some Bitcoin into a channel because I really want to just like run with it. I want to see what it can do. I want to send back and forth to people. I want to see like I want to know what I'm talking about because for a
Mhm,
while I've
mhm.
read things and it's just like oh it doesn't sound like it's ever going to work, but there have been some interesting apps released lately. I want to kind of use that, but I have no idea how many people are actually using it. I have a feeling very few. Like there's
Very few.
five
And
people. There's 5 people who are using it for bit refill.
problem of our space. Very few people use cryptocurrencies in the real life transactions, real world transactions.
Hmm.
We think that we are big,
Mm-hmm.
or we think very big about our space, let's say, especially after the news from about MicroStrategy, what was recently Michael Saylor from MicroStrategy, couple
Yeah.
of others, right? How great it is, but actually, these are not like transactions that are being executed by John Doe or whoever, right?
Yeah, of
An
course.
average person. And average person doesn't care about cryptocurrency when goes to the store, buys cafe or whatever. And this is what I was trying to say, that this is our biggest opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
because there is a definite leader in the space in terms of like store of value, right? Good investment, and obviously it's Bitcoin. Right now, Ethereum is leading away in a concept of providing the platform for development. I hope we can compete someday. But the payment space is not occupied by
Yeah.
the exact like leader, and it creates an opportunity.
Yeah, and that's as I've said before. Again, I've spent years learning on the job, so to speak, just learning as I go along, and I've basically concluded that the payments is probably the most difficult. It's one of the most difficult use cases to actually get traction on, because people are very comfortable in their regular payment systems, and more importantly, they use their regular currency, like their dollars or euros or whatever
Yeah,
else. And you're
yeah,
trying to get people to change both of those and change it to something that has no guarantees. And that's the thing that's
absolutely.
really scary is
It is.
if the value fluctuates, you can't call someone up and be like, "Hey, what happened?" Like, no, it's just the network, whatever. Or if, the payment doesn't work, or like you get it lost, there's no one to call. No one can go fix that for you. It is what it is. It just, and that makes it really terrifying, because it's like it's very high risk, for a lot of people to like change fundamentally, like even just to change a bank. And banks are like the same, right? They're just slight differences. But even to change a bank, people get all nervous and stuff, and like it's like, not only are you going to change bank, you're going to change to a little magic box, with magic spells and stuff in it, and you're going to put like gold, and you're not going to have money anymore. You're going to have this weird thing that no one thinks is money, and it just, there you go. You're in this sorcery cube stuffed with gold, and it's like, that's what?
Yeah,
Like,
very,
it's
very well
terrifying
said.
to people.
It is. It is. It's the entire new world.
But it's valuable. There's a lot of money in payments. There's a lot of money in money, as it turns out.
There is a lot. There is a lot of opportunity. No, if you think about the payment space, like maybe 4 or 5 brands. Visa. Mastercard, American Express, PayPal, Venmo. That's it. But if you think about the like average user, who knows Stripe? Who knows Square? They don't even know that they exist, right?
Yeah.
And those are huge companies
They
in
might know
payments.
Square, but that's kind of it. Like, just because it's everywhere here. But it's not everyone is like, "Oh yeah, that's a Square." Like, they just
Mhm.
know it's the thing that you swipe the thing on, and
And there are thousands of payments companies around the world. And as you said, what people have in mind is dollars, euros, yen, or Swiss franc, and they don't care what payment company operates the terminal or whatever they use to make a payment.
yeah.
And that there is an opportunity there,
Yeah, there's definitely.
especially when the platform is there, because developers might have an opportunity to actually even create applications when you will not see cryptocurrency. You will operate on like native currency, but on under. the surface that there will be blockchain that is serving for the transactions, borderless, very quick transactions.
Yeah,
We'll see.
that'll be
We'll
very
see.
interesting. So we got another question here, which is, to what capacity will Dash platform be able to offer solutions for the ecosystem as a whole? For example, via the world's first decentralized HTTP API, DPNS, the ability to work in tandem with Ethereum dApps, and even the possibility of oracles.
No,
It's a
I am the
little
wrong
intense.
person to ask this kind of low-level technical question. Uh, I believe, you know, I don't know how the Ethereum dApps and ecosystem work. If they do have decentralized APIs or APIs, of course, you will be able to connect those two, our DAPI and API of Ethereum. You know, it's the standard work that developer standard solution that developer use different APIs. To what capacity will the platform be able to offer these solutions? I don't know. You need to wait for Bob or one of the developers from the platform team to answer this question. Or
Yeah,
maybe if you can park it or send it to me, I will put it on the list for the quarterly call and will be happy to provide the answer
yeah.
in the quarterly call.
Yeah, I mean, it's also, while it's also a technical question, it's also a little bit generic. So
It is.
there's a lot of possibilities in that stuff. But
Mhm.
one thing that I really hope people get on, which obviously this is not going to be a Dash Core Group priority for a very long time, so it might have to be other people that do that, but is a multi-coin wallet that uses the Dash Pay experience, where people can basically use a Dash username to send their Litecoin or whatever. Because there's
Mhm.
so many of these solutions out there that, you know, don't really work well. Like say you have like a unstoppable domain or something, or a ENS thingy, or a .eth address, and it's just like one address, and that's all it resolves to. And there's no like contact payment history. You can't see the picture on the person, like all that stuff. That social experience people are gonna love, but they're not gonna have Dash necessarily, and they're not gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna just like the barrier to, let's get rid of our bank and all that stuff. Some people are going to be running around with their Bitcoin. They're going to be like, oh, I want that user thinking, I want to send my Bitcoin. Oh, wait, it's Dash only. What is Dash? Do I have to change it for Dash? I don't even know what it is. Do I like Dash? Do I want to hold on to it? What is it doing in the price? Oh, it's number, I don't know, never mind. But if you can just use the Dash to use the Bitcoin, I think that that's going to be a really huge thing that people are going to love to use. And I can't imagine that the Dash, I don't think Ethereum has any good identity service. Not like the way Dash is trying to do, the whole decentralized identity, to where, you have,
No,
it's so,
I am not aware of any.
yeah. That would be very interesting to have like a Dash username system to integrate with Ethereum dApps, because at least that I think will be possible, right? Because you should be able to associate data to the identities. And so as long as you use like the Dash login, right? The Dash login and username and stuff, that then you can all underneath it all, it's all Ethereum stuff. But then just that, that basic record, and then there's some basic things that are recorded on the on Dash platform that just say like as you go along, like, oh, I did executed this smart contract this time, just referencing that. But it should all be, you know, it should all be,
Yeah, I hope that Andy Freer and the guys from Dash Platform Incubator, they have listened to what you say and they see the same kind of opportunity and will create a Dash multi-coin Dash wallet.
yes,
Dash
that's
wallet.
that's definitely something that I am.
Yeah, at the moment our backlogs are really large for the probably couple of years moving forward. We are having a lot to implement, and probably there will be more new ideas, but the platform will provide. opportunities for other developers to develop on top of the uh, Dash network, Dash platform.
Hmm.
Yeah, I hope this kind of wallets and not only wallets will appear on the market.
Yeah.
That would be actually super interesting to have this kind of solution.
Yes, I've been talking about it for many, many months now, and I might try to get Andy to create some product specification bounties so I could jump on those as like the power user, and because as I said before, like the I think that like the problem with so Dash Pay is going to be so much better than everything else out there. I know because I use a bunch of different wallets, and some of them are pretty good, but
Hmm.
they all have some something that makes them not that good. The problem is no one's going to want to use Dash who uses other things, or like not everyone. And so
Hmm.
there's a and it's like well competing with multi-coin wallets. Multi-coin wallets are interesting because that's what everyone uses. Almost no one uses a specific wallet unless they're like a fanboy of the coin or just to try it out. No one uses that. Everyone uses multi-coin, but multi-coin wallets are all terrible. And I'm sorry for, again, I know and like the people at Edge. Edge is a great multi-coin wallet. However, all multi-coin wallets, probably Edge included, have a weird situation where they have first off they cannot adequately service the uniqueness of every single coin. So like they don't have dash instant send. They don't recognize that because of why. It just everything's the same. And also they have a million different features because that's how they make their money is by having integrating like oh, I'll pay you this much if you integrate my exchange into your app. All right. And then you'll take a piece of this if you integrate. So you just want a wallet you can send and receive and maybe buy from. But then the wallet does a million other things because they have to make money somehow. So
Hmm.
there's no good multi-coin wallet, like really good multi-coin wallet out there. And if Dash can make the first good multi-coin wallet, like again, just like payments, the field is open.
Yeah, please provide the specification for Andy.
Yes, I will do my best. Well, we should probably start wrapping this up. I know it's probably getting very late where you're at.
But it's fine. It's interesting conversation. No worries.
Yeah, let me just look and
But yeah,
see if there's
if it's
any
too
other.
long, then no one will watch it.
Yeah, let me just see if there's let's see, interview. So, Hilawi wants me to interview a guy from Chainlink. Someone asked, James Doe asked if I'm the dashiest of dashers. Maybe when I change my Twitter handle to remain dashy, maybe I will be at that point. But, so there's someone who's dashier than me, maybe. Also, it's funny because I'm not the only one in my town here who lives unbanked off of Dash. We're multiplying. So it's the way things work. Do a video on your Lightning experience. Yes, I will. I'll do a lot of videos and stuff like that. But anyway, now we're getting a little bit off topic. So we should probably wrap this up now. Thanks a whole bunch for coming on. Obviously,
You know what should we do, or you should do in this kind of videos?
yes,
Try to send money from one person to another.
yes. In fact, and this is a little spoiler, I guess. It's something I conceptualized over the last couple days, but I want to do two videos. One is, well, first two types of videos. One is a type of just like a review where I say, well, here's what I do. I'm going to send, receive, and this is the problem I ran into. This is blah, just kind of like this. But then I
Mhm.
also want to create a skit video, which is like a small play where I have a few of my friends and they act out a scene where they're like, "Hey, how's it going? Hey, I owe you $5 from there. Can you send it to me? All right, let's sync our lightning nodes together. All right, and just like make a little fiction
Yeah,
work on that, and then that'll be fun too. So
yeah,
those
yeah.
two together will be pretty fun. But anyway, so thanks a ton for coming on. I look forward to seeing the fruits of your labor as you single-handedly, like Atlas holding up the world, get platform out on
No,
testnet.
I'm
Just
not a single one. There is entire team working on this.
yes, of course. But you're definitely cracking the whip and just saying, "Whoosh, work faster, whoosh, work faster." And so,
Okay. I'm the bad cop.
yeah, the bat. You're So good luck playing bad cop, getting this thing out in the next few weeks. And yeah, if you guys liked this, obviously like, comment, share, subscribe, all that stuff. You can still leave chat messages, but they just won't be live anymore because we're not gonna. Yeah. So Eva D says, please your Dash wallet. I don't know if that means like Dash donation address, in which case it's right there on the screen, cointr.ee/the desert links, and you can just hit the Dash button and then go send stuff there. So yeah, get all that. And now it's time for the thing we call the after party, which is just like this, kind of, except it's not recorded, don't worry. A bunch of people, we just hang out. And the way you do that, you go to staydashy.com and then you just start asking around like a speakeasy and you'll get in. And then you get to hear what I really think about, X, Y, and Z. That's where you go for
Okay.
that. So,
I'm staying for a couple of minutes more.
yes, exactly. So, thanks again. Thanks, everyone. And we will see you in a couple weeks. We might have a special guest in a couple weeks. So, watch out
Great.
for that.
Thank you. Thanks, George. Thank you,
Yeah.
guys.
Bye bye, everyone.
It was a pleasure.